Good morning and welcome back to Wantage Road here in Northampton. Stream at Northamptonshire County Cricket Club is powered by Daffabet, and Northamptonshire will resume 214 for 5, having made their way to that score at the end of day 3. Still trail Kent by 170. The not out batters overnight are Safe Sabe on 43 and Lewis McManus on 4. There's an awful lot of work left to do today for Northamptonshire. My name is Dan Jadzovic. I'm joined by Sam Keir. Sam, how do you see this day going?
Like you say, an enormous amount of work to do, being 5 down at the close yesterday puts Northamptonshire in a really tricky position. Those LBWs of Luke Proctor and Rob Keogh, who battled so hard, might well have been the breakthroughs that give Kent this match. If they were 3 down at the close yesterday, you'd say they've got a quarter chance. But it's going to be very hard work with the pitch now on day 4, having already been used for two T20 games previously.
Absolutely right. And I think removing the jumper at the David Capel end, I think that's captain Jack Leaning, who picked up the key wicket of Luke Proctor late last night. The decision by the on-field umpires was that it was too dark to bowl the seamers. Arshdeep was bowling at the time, and Kent were employing a bit of a short ball tactic, weren't they, at that moment in time? And the umpire said, no, it's too dark. And that change, enforced by the umpires, worked wonders for Kent, as Luke Proctor was trapped LBW by Jack Leaning. So the Kent captain will start the morning from the David Capel, and he's bowled 3 overs so far, 1 maiden at 1 wicket of Luke Proctor, and just gone for 6 runs. Well, here we go. Lewis McManus on strike, and successfully defended into the leg side.
I'm slightly surprised both that we haven't seen Wes Agar with this old ball last night, or that he didn't start from the David Capel end this morning. He was getting the ball to reverse dramatically in the first innings with a ball that was younger than this. Maybe they just feel that spin on this wearing pitch is an even better option than Agar, but I'd be interested to see what he could do with the 70-over-old ball.
Yeah, we had the benefit of Ollie Sale's company yesterday afternoon, or yesterday evening, didn't we? And we spoke a little bit about reverse swing and the witchcraft and the dark arts that go in to make that happen. And he mentioned about how important it is for that cricket ball to be almost kind of perfect for it. And maybe Kent have looked at it. They gave Arshdeep a burst and kind of thought maybe we'll save him for the new one. But I mean, he may well bowl the next over from the Lynn Wilson centre end, mightn't he? But I'd be quite surprised if it's not Joe Denley, having bowled 30 already from this end. Although looks like Wes Agar might be doing a couple of stretches at mid-on, so it could be the big Aussie from our end. It's the single off the last ball of the over for Lewis McManus to keep the strike. 1 off the first over of the day, and it is going to be Joe Denley. So those stretches from Wes Agar at mid-on were dummy, and I bought it. But it's going to be the leg spin of Joe Denley with those rather large footholes to bowl into this morning.
Safe Sabe, who's at the non-strikers end, has played nicely, hasn't he? 43 of 56 balls. He's been as fluent as anyone. But the challenge for him, as it has been all season in the championship, is converting these nice 20s and 30s and now 40 into big scores. And need one today if Northampton are going to have any hope.
Yeah. So we see that one go past the outside edge of Lewis McManus. We've got a first slip in. We've got silly point and a short leg in his catches, and sweepers out on the boundary on either side. going to be 1 to Lewis McManus. Interesting, Sam, not to start questioning the captaincy tactics at all, but to be in such a position of ascendancy and Northamptonshire just having 5 wickets left, have sweepers out on both sides. Could there be an argument to have another catcher in there instead? I mean, runs aren't really an issue for Kent here, are they?
I guess the only thing is they know that both these players, McManus and Zabe, like to score at a good rate, and if the leggy drags one down, then actually that could create a chance out in the deep. Yeah, I take your point. You'd have thought they'd want to be crowding the bat as much as possible.
Yeah, first slip, leg slip, and a short leg to safe Zabe. And that is out. Second ball for safe Zabe this morning. It's an inside edge. Turned round the corner, straight to the man at short leg. Just off the pad as well. Take a bit of pace off it. And Northamptonshire, 9 balls into the morning, 10 balls into the morning, find themselves 6 down as safe Zabe goes for 43. Bowled Denley, caught Compton.
Well, if the coffin lid was firmly shut with a few nails already in it, it's another one banged in, isn't it? It's well, Tom Taylor can certainly bat, but you'd say that's the last out-and-out batter for Northants gone. Well taken at short leg.
Yeah, just into those footholes that we spoke about earlier. Turned and a simple catch, or as simple as catches at short leg go. We saw Ben Compton give a life to Rob Keogh yesterday, but made no mistake on that one. As she said, Tom Taylor's going to be the new man for Northamptonshire, joining Lewis McManus at the crease.
Yeah, Northants in danger of their 4th innings defeat of the campaign, which says it all, really, doesn't it?
It does indeed. 2 right-handers at the crease now for Northamptonshire, so those footholes are now outside the leg stump. Joe Denley will bowl over the wicket. Starts with a shorter ball. And decides those footholes are quite appealing, so changes to come back around the wicket to Tom Taylor.
Joe Denley will be eyeing up a first-class career best with the ball in his 233rd match.
And that is a dot ball to finish the successful over for Kent. The wicket of safe Zabe fell in that over. Joe Denley now has 3 for 95 off 31.
Yeah, previous best, well, current best in first-class cricket, 4 for 36. So, going to need a couple more, but you'd say he's odds on probably for a couple more wickets, the way things have been going for him.
Yeah, he's got a very good opportunity now with the Northamptonshire lower middle order and tail to contest with. Jack Leaning's going to carry on, so no seam this morning. Just those 8 overs until that second new ball, if Kent elect to take it, which I suspect they probably will. It'll be a bit harder, won't it? Generate a little bit more bounce even if they stick with the spinners.
Huge credit to Kent. I mean, they've been excellent from ball 1 of this match. Their batting performance, which in itself is superb, just puts how well they bowled into perspective as well.
That's gone through the offside, and it's going to be A longish chase. Out to cover. Lewis McManus picks up 3. So Tom Taylor will take the strike. No, you're right. They've been fantastic, Sam. Wes Agar set the tone, didn't he, on day 1 with that 5-wicket haul, and was suitably supported by their other overseas Arshdeep as well. Really getting that ball to reverse, which we hadn't seen from the Northampton seamers. The fielding's been good. Jack Leaning's taken 5 catches, I think, at least. In the slip cordon. And then, as you said, Daniel Bell-Drummond's batting innings to get 621 for Kent was an absolute masterclass. And somehow that innings of 170 of Tawanda Muyeye was overshadowed, wasn't it? Which I don't suspect would happen too many times.
Yeah, it took something special from Daniel Bell-Drummond to overshadow that just glorious innings from Tawanda Muyeye. And speaking to the Kent website yesterday, Daniel Bell-Drummond just talked about how he was determined to bat long, bat deep. And that's exactly what he did. But I don't think Tawanda Muyeye will mind too much. What a special moment for the young man. And as you said yesterday, Dan, privileged to see both that maiden first-class 100, but also Daniel Bell-Drummond's incredible feat of endurance.
It's going to be 1 off the first ball of Denley's 32nd over. Bit of an appeal from behind the stumps, but nobody else supported Jordan Cox there. Tom Taylor made 35 in the first innings, 52 deliveries. Was caught by Wes Agar off the bowling of Hamidullah Kadri. It's going to be a tough task for him today. Some very, very challenging conditions. Successfully defended and navigated by Tom Taylor, so 1 run off the over. Slightly surprising, Sam, that Jack Leaning and Kent opted to open the bowling with himself from the David Capel end and not who you would have to say in this lineup is their frontline spinner in Hamidullah Kadri.
I'm more surprised it wasn't Wes Agar, but I suppose Leaning deserves a few overs after getting that one to turn dramatically and pin Luke Proctor, who'd looked limpet-like at the crease.
Sure what this conversation is between the umpire and Jack Leaning. Did you spot anything there, Sam?
No.
Suggest it might, the way Jack Leaning's looking back at those footholds, I suggest it might be a conversation about those, but not convinced. Jack Leaning's off swing's going to create too many more footholes there than what the seamers have already done throughout the course of the game so far.
He's switching to come round the wicket now. So that'll be one way to stay on the umpire's good side.
Very true.
Literally.
It seemed like an odd conversation to have, though. Inside edge from Lewis McManus and evades the fielder at short leg. But that turned sharply from around the wicket. Because, I mean, with regards to those footholds, I mean, where else is his feet meant to go?
Yeah, that's a fair point. If that is what they were talking about.
Well, I'm only suggesting by the fact that both parties were looking towards those footholds on the follow-through of the ball afterwards. So I might be completely wrong, but maiden over for Jack Leaning and 2-2-0 for 6 is the score. 75 overs gone. If, of course, you'd like to get in contact with Sam and I during the course of the day, you can do so via Twitter.
At NorthamptonCCC.
He's picking it up. And via email.
Stream at nccc.co.uk.
That's so much better than when I'd have to do it, Sam.
I'd rather put you on the spot, Dan.
I was clearly very... I was very confused, wasn't I, at that moment in time. I can't even remember what day that was. Was that day 1 or day 2?
Plenty of company for Tom Taylor. 2 slips. Leg slip. Silly point. Short leg. So they listened to you, Dan, once they got rid of safe save.
Wide ball signalled by the umpire.
See, I feel that's a bit harsh because...
Well, I don't suspect it's what Northants particularly want either. I think they'd be quite happy for Joe Denley just to bowl out there all day.
Yeah, if Northants were chasing a total and he was just spearing it down the leg side, then yeah. But he's trying to get it to rip out of the... So, yeah, I don't know. But
it's losing a bit of context in it, really, isn't it? As you said, if there was trying to take time out of the game, then I could completely understand it. But the fact that Joe Denley's trying to land it in those footholes outside Tom Taylor's leg stump, and that's flicked into the leg side, Tom Taylor's going to get himself off the mark. It's not going to go all the way. I think they'll probably settle on... They won't. They will come back for 3. Thought they might have settled on 2 there, but Tom Taylor opens his account with 3 down towards the deep mid-wicket boundary. But yeah, I was saying it just... Joe Denley's trying to land it in those footholes to turn it big across the body of the right-hander. There's obviously a chance that one isn't going to turn quite as big as the other one, and just carry on down the leg side. But it didn't even look particularly wide, did it?
no, I mean, Rob Bailey will know the laws and regulations better than us, so we'll defer to that. But it's just going back to the seam spin argument. It's also definitely the most overcast of the 4 days, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Maybe, and I think with only 4 overs till the new ball, they thought, well, we'll save them till then rather than worry too much about seeing whether there's any reverse swing or not. And, you know, to be fair, they have already picked up a wicket.
Yeah. And I think they'll take it. I think they'll take it at 80. They'll get,
I think so,
probably half a dozen overs of genuine swing with that new ball. And if the breakthrough doesn't come, then the spinners will get a harder ball to bowl with a slightly more pronounced seam, which is obviously going to bounce a bit more and just bite into that surface a little bit more than what it has done as well. So and that is a slog sweep from Tom Taylor. That has gone down towards the long on boundary for 4. picked that one up well.
Yeah, seen him play a few of those in the Blast. I think that's how Tom Taylor should play here. There's no point dying wondering on a turning pitch. Try and do Ernie and Botham. Score 100, set them 110. Score probably need 150 from Tom Taylor.
Yeah, well, he's going to want to do something to... He split the gap there between Muyeye and Ben Compton, and Muyeye can't believe it. But he's going to want to do something just to, well, get rid of some of that company that he's got around the bat at the moment. And if he does play those bigger shots, then I suspect they won't hang around down there for too long.
And if you prod and poke, there's a ball with your name on this pitch now. I think against the spinners, certainly.
And that's a dot ball to finish Jack Leaning's 7th over. 229 for 6.
Had our daily correspondence from regular contributor Ray. Says, morning Sam and Dan, unfortunately not able to make this morning due to work commitments. Not a great start with the loss of Zabe, looking bleak for the lads. Can't take away the superb batting of Bell Drummond yesterday, a faultless innings. Have a great day, although result is imminent. All the best, Ray. Oh, well, thanks for taking the time to get in touch, Ray, even if you are at work. I think a great day might be stretching it, but you just never know. Make the most of whatever we have in front of us, eh, Dan?
Absolutely. Hard to argue with anything that Ray's said there as well. It's good fun listening into the chat in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, let's turn it up a little bit, see if we can hear them. As long as we don't get told off by the technical team.
Well, they shouldn't have left us with the mixer then, Sam, should they?
I get told off daily for moving cameras.
Well, that is because you moved them, to be fair.
Why? Sometimes they're in my way.
Denley from around the wicket then. Those fielders converge on Tom Taylor. So he's trying to get the ball to turn sharply out of those footholes across the body of Tom Taylor. Outside edge brings the 2 fielders at slip and silly point in play. And you've got short leg and leg slip for the one that Tom Taylor tries to turn around the corner. Fielder at second slip, very close and on his knees. It's going to be another maiden for Joe Denley. That's his 5th of his work in the second innings.
Actually bowled really well, Joe Denley. I can't think of too many balls that I think he's probably prone more to over pitching than dragging down. I know the conditions are favourable, but 34 overs, 3 for 100. He's looked very threatening, and actually I can't think of too many bad balls. Few full tosses. Looked a little bit ragged, didn't he, either side of the tee yesterday?
Yeah, I think when he was starting to tire.
Yeah.
But in almost both of those sessions, he'd almost bowled the entire session, hadn't he? So
right.
I think that can be forgiven. He's obviously a lot more experienced than Alex Russell for Northamptonshire, but we saw the same with... Oh, that's short. And Lewis McManus has pounced on that. I don't think that's collected to Wanda Muyeye, but...
Not far off. Did well to get out of the way. Oh!
That's so close.
You'd have heard that whiz past
Do
his
you
head.
remember the, was it the wicket of Cheteshwar Pujara when England toured India off the bowling of Dom Bess? And I think it might have been Ollie Pope at short leg, and Pujara pulled the short ball. And it kind of ballooned off Ollie Pope's back.
That's right, yeah. Oh.
And was caught for an absolute dolly of a catch somewhere in the outfield. But it's almost like you wouldn't want to be there for that drag down, but at the same time, there is the chance of getting a bit of an assist, although I'm not sure that goes down in the statistics come the end of the season. Bold leaning, caught Arshdeep, assist, Muyeye or something like that. I don't really think that works.
Well, you do see it now, don't you, on some scorecards where if there's like a boundary catch where someone's chucked it in, it'll say X/Y, caught X/Y, so maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a case for that in my club cricket for run-outs as well. Because more often than not, my fielders have thrown the ball to point, and then I've had to collect it from out there and then make the journey back to the stump to take the bails off, and it still goes down as their run-out, which I think is slightly unfair. But anyway, 79 overs gone, 233 for 6. So 1 over away from the second new ball if Kent elect to take it, and I think they probably will, because Arshdeep and Wes Agar going through some pretty rigorous, well, I say rigorous, but going through some looseners, having a bit of a stretch. Wes Agar bowled brilliantly, didn't he, from the David Capel end on day one, but we saw Arshdeep from that end yesterday at the start of this innings. And that's an absolute beauty from Joe Denley that goes through to the wicketkeeper Jordan Cox.
Sweepstake on how many people in the cordon Agar will have? I'm going 4 slips in a gully.
I like the idea of 4 slips in a gully. I think we could see a short leg in as well.
Yeah. Man, maybe around the corner as well for the occasional short ball.
Yeah, quite possibly. But I suspect it'll be, as you say, fairly orthodox, and that cordon will be packed. And why wouldn't it be when Kent are 151 runs ahead still of Northamptonshire? Flighted delivery from Joe Denley that time.
I think, based on our conversation yesterday, this is now the most overs that Joe Denley has bowled in a first-class innings.
Is that why you didn't join me in the pub last night? Because you were going through those 240 first-class games, just checking to see?
No, I did that. You remember during the day? I'm nervous about that I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's what the number was, 34 previously.
Yeah, I can't imagine, with all due respect to Joe Denley, that he would have bowled this many overs that regularly in his career. That's muscled down the ground from Tom Taylor, short from Joe Denley, and powered down through mid-on. One ball left then until this second new ball.
Maybe Joe Denley won't get his career best if the new ball does the job.
And that is successfully negotiated by Tom Taylor. So all eyes on the umpire then as to see whether that second kookaburra comes out of a pocket. Arshdeep's walking off towards point, and Wes Agar is walking off towards mid-on, and Hamadullah Kadri's taken his jumper off. So it's happened once or twice in my life, Sam, but I'm wrong again.
We both were.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You were talking about a dummy from Agar and Arshdeep, and I do wonder actually whether that was a little bit of mind games.
Well, I've taken the bait, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too.
I've nibbled big time.
That's funny. Do you know a lady called Gina Condi in West Sussex?
Should I?
No, but it's just sort of our neck of the woods. She sent an absolutely lovely email. Thank you, Gina. That means a huge amount. Wondered if you were one of Dan's friends, but
Doesn't ring any bells.
Well,
I'll apologise if I should, but
extremely grateful for your kind words, Gina, and glad you've been enjoying the stream. Imagine, as a Kent supporter, Gina, the performance of your team has probably helped matters, but
good start by Kadri.
I suppose what Leaning's thinking here is, let's have a look at what Amadullah Kadri can do before we take that new cherry. Probably fair enough on the man. He's certainly putting lots of effort into each delivery. Yeah, a bit surprising he hasn't bowled more in this innings as the kind of frontline spinner when you look at the team sheet. I suppose the leg spinner from this end was always going to bowl a lot of overs.
Yeah, particularly following the success of Alex Russell for Northamptonshire, having picked up 6. I mean, we talk about spin for Kent as... But 8 of the wickets across the course of this game for Kent have all fallen to seam anyway. Wes Agar's got 5 so far, and Arshdeep's got 3 across the course of the game. 2 in the first and then 1 in the second.
Yeah, I suppose in this innings it's been 5 to spin, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which you'd expect.
Maiden over for Kadri to start the day. Where's Agar just on the corner of our screen there, still going through some looseners. Look. Don't know whether Jack Leaning's just had a bit of a conversation between Denley and Agar just to see what the feel is.
Taylor using his long arms and legs to get to the pitch of the ball. Looking pretty untroubled at the moment. As Joe Denley fizzes one past his outside edge. Sort of silly second slip now, haven't we? A man down on his knees.
Yeah, was it Marcus
Yeah, I think
Trescothick
it was.
that kind of invented that?
I think.
Well, I say invented. I'm sure someone before Marcus Trescothick did, but he's the first person that kind of comes to mind.
I think that's the kind of fielding position I wouldn't mind it. Being able to just kneel down
under the lid at second slips.
Well, more about the fact that I could have a sit down. He's back on his haunches now. Another maiden for Joe Denley. Pretty comfortably navigated by Tom Taylor. He's been in good form with the bat for Northampton in the blast. Slightly different equation here. The deficit now below 150, 147. Just a reminder on screen how you can get in touch. Twitter at NorthamptonCCC. Email stream@nccc.co.uk. Be Interested to hear from some Northants fans on where you think Northants go from here if indeed they do lose this match. Big trouble should they not get anything out of this game. And a very soft dismissal brings Hamidullah Kadri his second wicket. Lewis McManus goes for 14, looking to get rid of those men close to him on the onside, but in the end just picking out the man at a deepish square leg, and Arshdeep Singh has a big smile on his face. Lewis McManus, first real sort of shot of aggression, and it brings his downfall. So things moving along quickly now. 7 down, Northamptonshire still needing another 147 runs to make Kent bat again. Some good news in amongst the bad news for Northamptonshire fans is that Chris Liddell, the team bowling coach, has joined us. Hi Chris, good to see you. Ben Sanderson is the new man for Northants as we see the replay. Just didn't really get hold of it. Lewis McManus perhaps wasn't quite short enough to allow him to get underneath it properly. Great to see you, Chris, despite the circumstances.
Yeah, it's nice to join you guys. Come up and have a chat.
I suppose it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. As Lewis McManus say, you know, you're surrounded by fielders. No point sort of prodding and poking, and sort of he's just trying to give himself a few gaps in the field, clear away, and he's unfortunately picked out the man there.
Yeah, you're right. I think sort of look to score. You've got to try and take the scoreboard out of it almost, and just try and put the bad ball away, or try and be positive in the way you play. Whether it's forward, whether it's back, you've still got to look to be positive and look to score. Otherwise, you sort of sat there waiting for them to just bowl at you and allowing them people around the bat, which adds to further pressure. So we know it's going to be a tough wicket. In terms of dealing with spin, there's plenty of rough out there, and it's how we cope with it and how we play.
Just pull your little microphone up a little bit. There you go. Just rubbing on your beard a bit, it was.
Yeah, do need a shave. Yeah, it's going to be a good test.
What was the conversation this morning? Obviously going in at 5 wickets down with 170 behind. What were the chats amongst you and the guys?
We spoke a lot about having to be positive about the way we play. Don't just allow them just to bowl at us. Have a method of how we're going to play the turning ball out the rough. How we're going to look to counteract and try and put a bit of pressure back on the bowling side. Again, it's a lot easier said than done. But there was plenty of good chats, plenty of positive chats. We wanted to show some good fight and get out there and make sure we're dragging this game out for as long as possible. And the ideal situation is that we're having the ball at some stage later today, but it's quite a long way from that at the moment. But we've got lads that are capable of doing it. I mean, Ben's been working hard on his batting in the nets early this morning. He's been in the nets. Been one of the first in the nets in the T20. He's been putting a lot of time into his batting and working on his method and technique. So it'll be a good test for him as well. And you've got Tommy at the other end who's starting to show some real good signs with the bat, the signs that we knew that were there anyway. Playing some real positive knocks for us and positive contributions. So, he's got to play it his way and how he sees it fit out there.
I guess something that John Sadler was saying to us after day 2. Ben Sanderson off the mark with a nice tuck into the onside, comes back for 2. The reality is, on a used pitch, wearing pitch, that you need to score the bulk of your runs in the first innings, as sort of Kent showed, right? And it was going to be a lot easier to score those runs.
Well, yeah, we set ourselves up to be bowling on the last day. We wanted to be doing this with men round the bat and having all that rough, and our spinners making good use of it and backed up with our seams. But we felt we were still 100 short in the first innings with the bat, and we couldn't quite get the ball to laterally move as much as we wanted to with the when it comes to us bowling. So we're a bit disappointed with a few things. Plenty of things to learn from. We've got another game coming up with the Kookaburra, so there's a couple of learners that we'll take into that. Again, might play down at Merchant Taylor on a slightly different wicket. It won't be used. It could be a fresh one down there. So it's how we adapt and use and play down there. But look, there's been some good positives taken out of it. Alex Russell in his second game getting 6 for, showing some real wicket taking deliveries, getting it a spit and bite out the rough and causing problems. Again, he's learning his game. He's developing all the time, so he'll take a lot of confidence from it, and he'll take a lot of things he feel he'll want to tighten up on going forward. But there is some positives.
Yeah, Rob Keogh's 2 half centuries in the game, one of them very close to being 100. Another wide from Joe Jane. Just explain to us, Lids, the rule with the wide there, because we were saying, well, it's not really negative bowling when he's trying to turn it square out of the rough. So why is Rob Bailey giving those as wides?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because your spinner will be looking and say, well, that's all the rough out there. That's what I want to land it in at. But I suppose it's making it difficult for the batter to actually play a shot. Because he's pitching it sort of behind him almost. So
yeah,
they can see it as negative ball and that he's unable to play a cricket shot to it. But again, spinners will be looking and saying there's quite a lot of rough out there that I want to try and land in, and if it lands in there, you will have to play a shot.
So I suppose the umpire's saying, well, if you get it to turn out of there, then fine. But if it's just going straight on, then I'm going to give it as a wide.
Yeah, he's unable to play a cricket shot.
Talking about Rob Keogh, that 97, which was a fantastic innings actually. He was playing some beautiful shots, but it was a great ball that got him, wasn't it? That reverse swing from Wes Agar. And that's been a big point of difference in this game, hasn't it?
It has. It has. They managed to get the ball reversed after about 40 overs. But going back to Rob, he was doubts whether he was going to play. He had a back spasm in the T20 game he played. His hips were pointing in sort of different directions. He was struggling to stand up, so he's done a lot of work to try and get himself fit. A lot of work with the medical team. They've been fantastic working with him. Days off, but coming in to make sure he's getting a bit of extra treatment and trying to straighten him out in a way, so he's able to move a lot freer. He's still not 100%. You can see sort of in the field he's not free moving as he'd like to be. But yeah, it was a great knock and deserved to get 100. That is for sure, because the way he played. But yeah, going back to their bowlers, you got probably 2 overseas players that are used to a Kookaburra ball in a way.
And these dry conditions.
Dry conditions, who were very skillful with it. The way they swung it up top and then managed to get it to reverse so early on, and smart with how they looked after the ball. So credit to them. It was, it's good to see in a way that people are exploiting the conditions and trying to make things, go laterally early on when they know that the ball's not assisting them with regular swing.
Will our lads get an opportunity to have a chat with Arshdeep and Wes at the end of the game and just pose a couple of questions to those guys and see what they might be able to pick up from that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. This day and age, a lot of the cricketers speak to each other. It's not like one team over there, one team over there anymore. They speak a lot, so I'm sure that someone's going to pick the brains or speak. Thoughts on this, thoughts on the ball. What did you guys look to do? I'll certainly be having a chat with Cookie, their bowling coach, and what they spoke about, because as coaches we speak a lot to each other from around the traps and try and pass on information. Obviously, if it's probably after the game rather than during the game, so they don't take any advantage into that. But there's a lot more cricketers these days that speak to each other, which is good to see, because we're all just trying to get better, aren't we, and trying to improve our skills.
Yeah, it's a good point. The world of kind of T20 cricket has certainly made it a lot smaller, hasn't it, for a lot of these lads? So it's nice. For the people that listening that potentially haven't tuned in over the last 3 days or haven't heard the conversations, obviously you mentioned about the fact that we're using the Kookaburra today rather than the Dukes, and will be again for Middlesex as well. What are the key differences between the two of them? I know that the Kookaburra is not going to be completely alien, because a lot of the lads would have spent time in Australia, but playing professionally with a Kookaburra, it might be the first time for a lot of these guys. Yeah,
definitely. It's the Dukes tends to stay harder for longer. The seam's a bit more pronounced, and you tend to keep the ball swinging and keep the shine in the ball. It's quite hard to keep the shine in the ball in a Kookaburra. It tends to go a bit duller. You'll see it swing a lot from like the first 10 overs, and then it sort of stop, and that's when you know, not to say batters can cash in, but it tends to be straight to field. Might have to be a tad further back in length. As a bowler, try and hammer away and attack the top of the stumps without looking to really nick people off. And then as the ball deteriorates more, then you try and get it to go reverse. I think reverse plays a big part with the Kookaburra. Like I said, they got it going after 40 overs, which meant there was a period of time there a small period of time where the ball actually was only going straight. The rest of the time they've been able to attack both sides of the edge. And so unfortunately we didn't get it to go as early as what we wanted to, which meant there's a long period of time where we were quite straight, and had to be smart with our fielders, or potentially use slow balls and go to cutters and stuff to try and generate something extra out of the wicket.
Yeah, and I know the scheduling is a constant debate, isn't it, with regards to English cricket? We've just come out of a big block of T20 stuff as well. Have you and the lads had much opportunity to prep with Kookaburra cricket balls?
Not a huge deal, not as much as obviously we'd like. There's probably one full training day or 1.5 training days where we could actually get some red ball practice in. What we have done is had lads playing in the second team, where we've been able to give them the Kookaburra ball to go and either bowl with on a morning, or face it in the nets with sidearm and stuff like that. So we've been quite proactive with that. Again, the schedule's hectic. We've had a lot of some of the lads that are playing in this game also playing T20, which is, as you can see, it's game after game and travelling and sort of non-stop, and it's important to get your recovery in. So it has been tough to prep properly, but I suppose it's the same for most teams. Everyone's sort of in the same boat with that. So we'd like a bit more, but
someone asked a really interesting question yesterday on Twitter, I think, which I didn't bring up because I had no idea what the answer would be. But now you're here. It's
okay.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Ben Sanderson picks up another boundary. He's looking very good at the crease at the moment, with some drives down the ground. So obviously, in a normal game with a Duke's ball, you have a box of balls which kind of replicate the age of a ball, one that's 40 overs old, 50 overs old. So if there does need to be the need to change one, I don't think we've had a ball change actually, but how have they done that in this game? That was the question. What would happen if they had to change a ball and it was 60 overs old? Where do you find a 60-over-old Kookaburra from?
Well, that's it. It's been difficult because we've had to give a lot of balls out to lads to go to the nets with, or for Ben Smith and Graham White to take for the sidearm, whether it's first team or second team. Try and almost with sidearm, you fast track the ball in a way, because you're not really looking after it that much, because you're just throwing and throwing. So you do get the moulder quite quicker. So we have got a box of balls. I think there's about 10 balls down there for spares. I did speak to the umpires today actually, and they said there's been a couple of conversations out there about the shape of the ball, but they were quite happy that it fit through the gauge and it didn't really go out of shape as much as what the Dukes did, which is obviously a positive sign for the Kookaburra ball. So they haven't had to go to the spares too often. And plus it looks quite hard to hit spin at the moment with the amount of rough, so there's not that many lads coming down the track and hitting it over the top, where in the past there's been a couple of balls that have been lost into the short edge there. So we'll still have a couple of spares at the end of the game.
Well, appropriately enough, given the topic of conversation, we are now going to see our first seam of the morning, and it's Arshdeep Singh into the attack. I actually missed whether they took the new ball. Did anyone see that?
Running in with the ball in his other hand, so I'm guessing he's still trying to get it to reverse.
Okay.
So it doesn't look particularly shiny in the way Jack Gleaning's working on it.
And I guess they'd have a look to see what he can do with the old ball, and then if it's not doing much, go to the new ball after an over or two.
Absolutely, you've got 2 goes at it really. I mean, if you get it to reverse and things to happen slightly later, which reverse does, that's great. If not, then you can go to the new ball, you can start swinging it. So yeah, good move, I think. He played a game against us in T20 last year, and I've never seen the white ball swing as much as what he did. He was fantastic to see. Left arm swing it as much as that. It was good. All at good pace as well.
You might careful. You might upset David Willey saying that.
Oh, Dave can swing it. They're on par. Yeah, he knows that. He's been great, Dave. Been great for us. The white ball, getting it to swing. That attacking option in the power play.
And backed up really well by Ben Sanderson as well.
Yeah, Ben Sanderson's done what he does best. He attacks the top of the stumps. He's his skills have improved over the years in terms of, you know, knuckle balls and his execution of them and what he wants the ball to do. And you can see now that a couple of slow balls that he bowls, he manages to get some swing on it, which means he's standing the seam up at a nice position. That he's been able to catch it with pace off, and he's got a couple of LBs and dismissals with it. So, you know, he puts plenty of hours into his bowling, his prep, as do all the bowlers. We've seen some great signs over the years of just, you know, our wicket taking tally keeps going up across the competition, which is they should be delighted with. I know they work hard at it.
Absolutely. We've had the pleasure of the company of Ollie Sale, Sam, haven't we, over the last couple of days, and spoken about his, well, disappointment with his injuries that he's had since signing for Northamptonshire over the winter. We can see him just walking around the boundary edge there, which is what's prompted me to bring the conversation. But how excited are you to get to kind of work properly with him once he kind of goes through the last bit of this rehab?
Yeah, we had a fantastic winter, working on things, building up for pre-season. Then he started to get a bit of discomfort and soreness. He also got ill, and then he came back and tried to bowl, and the soreness was sort of still there. It increased quite a bit, so that's when, you know, he went for the scans, and it obviously showed a few problems in the back, which means we've got to, you know, take him off for a little bit and you know, get him back up fit and strong. He bowled for the first time the other day and came out nice, be it we're only bowling off 25%. We try and build up in blocks. So he's at 25% at the moment of his bowling workload, so the intensity. But he's, you know, we could see in the winter, and we could see, well, I've seen Ollie down at Somerset play many times. You know, the skill set and the pace and the attributes that he brings.
And Tom Taylor can't resist having a go at that short ball from Arshdeep, but it flies over the head of Jordan Cox. He bowls quite wide from the wide of the crease, doesn't he, Arshdeep? But what's the thinking there?
I've watched him bowl in this game. I think he's used the crease really well. I don't think that's his stock delivery where he lands. He uses the crease depending on how much swing he wants to get. I think he's obviously looked to target with the short ball there and come wide. It's a bit of a blind spot. It's almost attacking you from behind, being a left armour, coming in at the back, you know, over the shoulder. It makes it hard sometimes to play a pull shot and get your arms out in front of yourself. So I think he's incredibly smart how well he uses the crease.
And as a bowling coach, watching an operator like that, I guess that's good education for you as well, in terms of the kind of ideas you can take and explore with the kind of guys under your watch.
Absolutely. We spoke in pre-season about not looking to. We don't need to look to do too much, but if we can execute the same delivery but from different parts of the crease, we're also then drawing the batter into playing different lines as well. So. Again, going back to all bowlers, they've been fantastic at working at that and exploring that and finding out whether, you know, for the nip backer, is it better to be slightly wide on the crease, or, you know, we even talk about targeting certain batters early on in their innings by coming tight to the crease and then gradually working our way out. So we're proactive with that. The lads have been great at practicing that and putting it into practice in training. So yeah, that's all the art of bowling really, isn't it? And not necessarily having to change the ball too much, all in swinger, away swinger, but just by adjusting your angle at the crease, just sort of you have the illusion that you're just leaving the batsman, but actually you just came wide of the crease and ran it through a different sort of line. So
yeah, it's a really good point, a really interesting one as well. I appreciate we're obviously talking about professional cricket, but I don't personally see that enough in the amateur side of it. It's very kind of like stock delivery, nothing changes. And as you say, you can create that bit of natural variation, and it's going to be really subtle as well, isn't it? It's not going to be that easy to pick up if you're an inch to the left or 6 inches to the right, whatever that might be. I mean, Mark Watt's got that amazing one when he bowls from about 38 yards, isn't he? So, which I think you probably would be able to pick up. But.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you don't have to have an in swinger, a away swinger, a nip backer, all these deliveries. If you execute one ball really well, but you then execute that ball from slightly wider, you've then got 2 deliveries. But it's the same ball, but you're making it. The batter's now having to play it from a different angle. Whether that slight adjustment on the crease and you're a bit wider might just attack the outside half more than the actual middle of the bat, and then just using that it might also draw the batter's head further across the crease, and then that sets him up for the LBW that it doesn't swing away or it just carries on straight and stuff like that. So yeah, we talk about being patient with it. We talk about playing the long game almost, especially if the ball isn't going to and doing too much. Just trying to hammer away and use our bumper wisely. Batters are comfortable coming down at us.
Well, this is interesting. So Arshdeep just getting a couple of overs, I guess, to see whether he was going to get the ball doing anything himself, or maybe even just work on taking that ball over the edge in terms of its condition for Wes Agar to then come and try and extract some reverse swing, which he'll be trying to do now from the David Capel end.
Going back to Ollie, he's chomping at the bit to get back out there. He's desperate to pull on the shirt and play some games for us. I know he's been working extra hard and he's disappointed as much as anyone that he hasn't been able to do much this year. So, he started the process the other day. He obviously started a long time ago in terms of the gym and getting his body fit and strong and feeling good. He started the bowling process the other day, so that's exciting for him. And then hopefully, we're in a position come the start of the One Day Cup that he can put his name on that team sheet.
That's certainly the impression we got, Sam, wasn't it, when we got the opportunity to chat with him. The enthusiasm to be out in the middle and actually playing cricket after such a long break was really clear to see, which is really nice. I think when asked about what his schedule looked like, he obviously went through that kind of recovery program with us and about the 25-50% and the number of overs and things. But when asked about is there a game in mind, he just said, literally do whatever I'm told to do because I just want to play, which is great.
Yeah, I mean we're trying to build him up for the first game really, the 50 over. Again, it's not an exact science that he's going to be fit and ready. We've got to go on, how he feels and how he pulls up from the different stages of the bowling recovery that he goes through. Very much work on his symptoms and stuff, and backed up by the medical team. Again, have been superb in the way they've helped him work with Ollie and the other players. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be an exciting end to the summer for him.
First little hint of some late induck there from Agar, just tailing in.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. If Wes over the wicket, is going to attack the stumps. The left arm with the angle, you'd probably have to come round and attack the stumps from that way. And you can attack both sides from here.
noise, but no interest. And so looking through my binoculars at the way Agar is holding the ball running in, he's got the shiny side on the leg side, as it were. Would that be right for what he's trying to achieve?
Yeah, he should be looking to tail it back at the stump. So it obviously goes opposite to what you'd normally see.
Yeah.
You know, if your shiny side was on the leg side, you'd be thinking it's going to swing and leave you, but it actually just keeps coming at you, keeps tailing back. We had the couple of the balls roughed up in the nets this morning, just trying to work on a bit of them facing a bit of reverse swing, and you know, that really focus on the ball coming out.
You said Ben Sanderson's been working on his batting. He's looked very accomplished so far in his innings of 21 off 25 balls.
Yeah, you know, he's definitely put the hours in. That is for sure. He's put the graft in. T20 days here at 3 o'clock in the nets having a hit, and he can go and get his, you know, gym work done and have a bite to eat, and then come out and do his bowling work. So he's certainly not last minute with it all. He just put the hours in.
So that shot of Salman Khan against Derbyshire was of no surprise to Ben Sanderson, even though I think it left a few of us speechless, I think, when he played it.
He'd been chatting about that for a while. He had a theory about how the bowler had gone, and he'd always gone pace on first ball. And he was like, if I'm facing him at his first ball, I know he's going to go pace, and I'm going to ramp him. But then the over before, the first ball of his over, he bowled a slow ball. He looked across and was like, theory's out the window here. But he's been working on it. He's been working on that. He's been working on the reverse as well. You know how important them shots are these days.
Well, that's interesting. New ball has been taken, so obviously Kent deciding that this old ball not doing enough for the seamers to persist with. So Arshdeep Singh will have first use of this brand new Kookaburra from the Lynn Wilson Centre end.
Yeah, so they'll obviously, well, if it was to go the distance, they'll only get one new ball today. Arshdeep, but what we've seen so far from this Kookaburra, it's swung for half a dozen overs at the top, and then's gone pretty benign again. But
Yeah.
I suppose they'll be looking to do as much damage as they can in these next 6 overs. So we see that just tailing back in towards Tom Taylor first up. But I suppose for the spinners, it gives them a bit of a harder ball to bowl with, slightly more pronounced seam that might bite into this surface a bit more than the older one as well. So
Definitely.
a good move for Kent, and a new challenge for Ben Sanderson and Tom Taylor to come up against.
Definitely, you can see why they held it back for a while, just to try and exploit some reverse swing and target LBs and balls, and then say they've got 2 bites at it, and they can go the new ball now, and hopefully we see off the seamers, and then, you know, as the spinners come on with, you say it's going to be a harder ball, bit of a, you know, more pronounced seam that might bite a little bit more, and we've got to work out how to deal with that as well. So definitely a good move by them. Hopefully we can keep fighting away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a good partnership so far between these two. Ooh. Powerfully struck through the leg side. Just evades the diving fielder at short mid-wicket. Ben Sanderson's going to add another 2 to his tally. Obviously all one dressing room up there, Chris, and everybody's working together, but be a bit of fight for you guys as a bowling group here, and to keep Northampton in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, we're obviously disappointed that we probably didn't get the total we wanted first innings. We also didn't, you know, get as much out of the game. You know, bowling, you know, they scored 600. Obviously, it takes a lot out of the body, energy-wise, and you know, we've had to work hard there. We're obviously desperate to win games and put on a show. We know it's not been all plain sailing for us so far in Championship cricket. T20 has turned the corner. I think it's been outstanding to watch. Really, really exciting where we've gone about our cricket in T20 cricket, especially the back half. And the championship cricket, we're desperate to turn a corner and put on a proper performance. We know we've done that. We did it last year. We know it's in there with the group of lads that we've got who are working hard at their game. Sometimes you've got to try and build that confidence, and that takes a bit of time. But yeah, we're hoping that's not too far away. We're going to go down to Middlesex next week, knowing that we turn them over here and put in a good performance here against them. And as I said, there's been signs in this game of some positivity. We just got to keep looking away, got to keep putting the hours of hard grafting that we have done and the preparation that we do, and believe that it'll change and go into our favour.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of one moment, that one day, that one result kind of feels like it could really kind of change the momentum of the team.
Absolutely.
And actually, even if Northamptonshire lose this game, taking it as deep as possible plays a part in confidence levels going forward, right?
Absolutely. There's still scores to be out there for everyone. As I said, the young Alex Russell, he's only second game, took 6 for, which is great for him. Rob Keogh, with stiff back and couldn't really move, should have came away with 100. Procky 50 odd, but starting to show some good signs. It's all there. We've had moments where it's been there. Had moments of brilliance from individuals, different games this year. And I say I'm sure that team performance with bat and ball isn't too far away.
How important is your role collectively as a coaching group in keeping the guys positive? Because obviously it's when you're out there and it doesn't go well, then heads can easily drop. So how do you make sure the guys are looking forward and not dwelling and things like that?
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's really important that us as coaches, we get around the players and we give them hopefully clarity in their game and what we're going to be coming up against and options we might have and how their game's set at the moment. Give them confidence that it's not too far away. There's a score out there. There's wickets to be had out there. They've done it before. The record shows that they've done it before.
Yeah.
We're all quite experienced players. A couple of youngsters in the change room, which bring that excitement and that the energy of it's a game of cricket. There's not many scars with the younger guys who just want to get out there and impress and get involved, which is great. The older guys that have played a lot of cricket have that knowledge and experience that they've done it before. They've scored hundreds, they've took 5-ers, some have took 10-ers. So it's all there. Again, there's a lot of cricket that's being played in a short period of time, so we've got to try and keep them fresh as possible.
Actually, when you look at the table, it's not as in terms of the sort of bottom half of that table. No one's got more than 2 wins. So actually, it only takes stringing together 2 or 3 results to be, back in mid-table.
Yeah, absolutely. With the bonus points changed this year and being less points for a draw, wins do bump you up quite quickly.
Yeah.
Which is good. And again, we know that a couple of wins, it puts us right back up there. So we can't believe that we're sat down the bottom there and it's going to finish that way. We've got to believe that we can, a couple of wins away, and all of a sudden we're back up towards the middle half of the table, which can happen very quickly. And all of a sudden you've got a different mindset in the change room, having won a couple of games and the tails are up and we're happy and stuff. Not saying we're not happy now because obviously we're fighting, but it just relaxes you a little bit and sort of not looking, thinking, geez, we're propping up the table, actually competing and trying to take teams down.
And what a way for Kent to pick up the 8th wicket. Tom Taylor has to go run out at the non-striker's end. Ben Sanderson driving the ball powerfully down the ground, and of all the ways Wes Agar's been involved of taking wickets in this game, that's certainly not going to be the top of his list, I'm sure, but he's got a fingertip to that, and Tom Taylor's got to go for 21.
Tom Taylor will be wishing Ben Sanderson hadn't spent quite so much time working on his batting. It was a great shot.
Absolutely crunched that, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What a way to go, unfortunately.
Well, when the luck's not going with you.
Yeah. There's not really much you can say about that, is there? That's one of the most unfortunate ways that you can possibly get out. Jack White is the next man for Northamptonshire. Number 10 today. Join his opening bowling companion Ben Sanderson at the crease. He's bowled brilliantly this season, hasn't he, Jack?
He's been great, Jack. Yeah, I think the Sanderson-White partnership with the new ball has been great. We obviously missed Sando for the first part of the season with the knee injury that he was, or knee operation that he was getting over. Wasn't quite ready for the start, but when they bowled together, and when they bowled together last year as well, they were superb. Both complement each other very nicely. And it's great to watch them go about their work with the new ball. But yeah, and Jack, he's pretty simple in the way he goes about his cricket, which is great. He doesn't try and confuse it too much. He knows what he's capable of. He's worked hard. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, he didn't have a wobble ball. He just bowled a way swing. So hard work's been put in there to perfect a wobble ball, and being able to attack both sides of the bat. And he's got his rewards. I think, he's challenged batsmen. He's challenged some of the best in the country. Sorry, it's challenging their forward defence and how well they can, combat his movement with the ball. He's done really well. He's got some important wickets for us and bowled some important spells. He's filled Sando's shoes, or the gap that Sando left when he's either been rested or he's been injured, which is great. And then obviously when they're both going together nicely, exciting thing to watch.
Absolutely right. There was an article, Sam, wasn't there, written earlier this year about Jack White potentially being the unluckiest bowler in first-class cricket with the chances that he'd created. Down the leg side, that one from Wes Agar. I think he sits on, how many wickets is he?
I know he's
20 first-class wickets this season, I think.
Won't be far off that. I know he's had 13 drop catches.
Is that right? 13.
Tells us quite often.
Yeah, 20 first-class wickets this season.
Again, he's bowled great. He has created chances. We can't hide the fact that we dropped too many catches this year, and maybe the table reflects, them chances that we put down. We can't afford to try and take 14 wickets each innings. It's hard enough taking 10 sometimes. So we have made it hard work for ourselves. With that, you then spend longer time in the field, take more out the legs. The batters are probably waiting longer to then get into bat. Been disappointing in that aspect of things. That should have been better at taking our chances. We know that, and the lads have worked hard at that. A lot of slip catching, a lot of outfield catching. This is starting to. We're starting to see the rewards of that extra bit of work that they're putting in, the disciplines that the lads have shown. Took some good catches. T20, we've taken some great catches.
I was about to say, with that change, and you mentioned about the second half of the T20 campaign, that you said you felt the team had put in some really exciting performances. It kind of coincided with that kind of step up in the field as well, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't just say, right, we're going to get better at catching and then have one session and think everything's going to be superb and we're going to catch everything. It takes weeks. It takes plenty of sessions of working at that. Then the confidence to sink in, and the lads to start feeling confident about how they attack the ball, or how they, put the positions to put themselves in, or make sure they're on the front foot and wanting to put the body on the line, or attack a ball, or take a catch, or take that 50-50 chance. Because, when you're dropping catches and it's costing us, sometimes it's quite easy to sit back and think, I hope it doesn't sort of come to me, which maybe have happened a little bit. But again, the lads have, they've worked hard. They've certainly put hours in catching and extra catching. There's in T20 we've had almost 2 fielding sessions, so the lads come out early before and do a load of boundary work and take a few flat catches over the and one's slightly over the boundary, trying to flick them back in, and certainly put the hours in there. And then obviously when we get together as a team, then go back and do more. So I'm sure the lads' hands are sore, but they're not moaning about it. They're just getting on with it because they know how important it is to us.
Yeah, we hear it so many times on the TV, don't you, about those kind of half chances that get taken that are so important. It's just gone past Jack White's outside edge that time from Arshdeep Singh. So those half chances that get taken, those run-outs that are so important, that just kind of generate a buzz around the rest of the team and the dressing room, and it's a real kind of flashpoint in an innings, isn't it, to take one of those?
We talk about it a lot. It's game-changing moments. It's moments of brilliance that just, even if it's someone that's charged around the boundary and stopped the 4 and they've only taken the 3, it's then, and we get a wicket from it because the person that we want on strike is actually on strike now. It's little moments like that and diving stops, all this type of stuff, which gives energy back to the team. I think we can control that being in the field, because I think it is all about attitude in a way and wanting to do it, which we're seeing. We're seeing Sam Whiteman the other day. We've been out there for 100 and something overs, charges around the boundary and dives on an outfield that's bone dry and rock hard, and gets the ball back in, and all of a sudden we get a wicket from it a bit later for Al Russ. So it's the commitment to that, and yeah, we certainly turned the corner with it, our attitude towards it. That is for sure. Lads have been, like I said, they've been quality, the efforts that they've put in behind the scenes, and we're starting to see it. Starting to see it on the big stage, yeah. From
Ben Sanderson through the covers, picks up 4 more, and he moves into the 30s. Almost a dismissive cover drive off Arshdeep Singh. Don't think a Kent fielder moved for that one. And then to Justin Broad's the latest addition to the dressing room, isn't he? He's played. Did he play 40 20s at the end of the? Might well have been 4 or 5, I think.
Yep.
German international, which is always a fun kind of topic to talk about. But how's he fitted into the team? And I mean, is he far away from playing first-class cricket, do you think?
I don't think he's far away. He's quite a quiet guy, goes about his business, gets his work done, smiles a lot, which is nice. Have some nice conversations with him. He's very excited to be in the change room and part of us, and just wants to impress and get out there. I think the work and the commitment, and not so much the commitment, but the way he's gone about his work in second team cricket. He's been very consistent in his performances, and that's across red ball and white ball cricket, second team, and he got his, he deserved that opportunity to play. Certainly seen something early doors, and we were very excited about what he could bring, and then he showed that in the way he played, and then warranted him getting a contract, which is rightly deserved. I don't think he's far away at all. I'm a firm believer that competition drives development in the group, and if you have people knocking on the door, it means the development of all players, and players are going to be on the toes. They want to keep improving and impressing, and that's infectious throughout the whole group. So it's great to have Justin with us, and he's certainly been very exciting to watch.
Where's Agar then to continue for Kent? Short, and Ben Sanderson gets underneath that one successfully. Have you made Kent's approach to this new ball, Sam, whilst you've been watching?
Better ask Chris, really.
Chris and I were chatting about various other things. I just wondered whether there was anything you'd picked up whilst on the TV
really.
or out the window.
It's certainly not been much swing, has there? I wonder with the tail enders in, how long it will be before they go back to spin.
See, because then what I can do is I can ask Chris if he echoes those thoughts, and just see whether your kind of brain for cricket is on the right tracks.
Give my inexpert opinion, but yeah, I think you better do that.
What do you reckon?
I think Yeah, I think Wes is going to use the bumper here. He's going to try and push Sando back and make it a bit uncomfortable, and try and trap him on the crease. I think probably have a simple game plan in that.
Side edge that time.
I imagine he'd probably go the same way against Jack. Always, as a quick ball, towards the tail ender, you almost want to show a bumper early. Just let them know that you have got it and you are going to use it. Just stops them comfortable sort of coming forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overstepping at the moment. Where's it got? Ben Sanderson doesn't usually have any issues with no balls. What was going on there in Kent's innings? I mean, I know it was a long innings, so they got more opportunity to bowl them, but don't really.
Yeah, we've been really good. We're good in practice with that. We don't bowl no balls in practice. One thing we've been hot on. Forgive Ben in a way that he bowled quite a lot of overs, slightly overstride and a bit of stiffness and soreness. I think 2 of them were from bounces as well. I think that was about it. Really, it was just Ben got a couple. Maybe he was just trying a little bit too much to try and get it to do something at the crease and overstriding slightly, trying to get it to tail a little bit.
This could be nonsense, but I just wondered as well whether if you've got quite a hard dry outfield, and also when you're taking off on a very hard end of the, do you almost get an extra inch in your delivery stride because of the kind of extra resistance when you're pushing off? Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, absolutely. You talk early season when the ground's soft, it's quite heavy on the legs and hard. You'd almost like really striding to get there. When it's bone dry like this, you sort of like glide across the top of it. Sometimes you can get there a bit early. I know there is footholds there that are causing the lads a couple of problems, so trying to move and trying to get slightly out the way of them or not catch the edge of it sometimes as well. I know Tommy caught the edge of one foothole and got a bit of a sharp pain in the ankle, so sort of understand why they might be just trying to move themselves across the crease a little bit. We know we speak about that as a skill thing we want to do, but sometimes you're forced to do that because of the footholes themselves.
Successful defence so far from Jack White. And Sam, you're 2 from 2 at the moment then this morning. The comment about the no balls and the harder outfield and gliding across it, and then the tactics of Kent with the new ball. Curious to see as to where your third goes.
It was a stop clock tells the right time twice a day, so I better shut up now.
Jack White on strike then. 3 slips for Kent and a short leg. There is that short ball that we spoke about a moment ago, and Jack White successfully gets underneath that one.
How have you guys found watching us over the course of the summer? Red ball cricket and white ball.
I think for myself personally, it's kind of a debut into proper commentary, so to speak. So it's been a bit eye-opening, just full stop, to be in this kind of position. The T20 stuff, I've loved it. I think it's been a lot more kind of my style, a lot more energetic, and some of the performances that I've been able to commentate on have been amazing fun. Even if I do get Rob Keogh and Fred Heldrick mixed up, which then Rob Keogh hurts his back from. Obviously held my hands up to that one and made a mistake on that one. And then the championship side of it, it's been good. And as you said, I think the highlights for me have been Jack White and Ben Sanderson with the new ball up top have been really impressive. Recency bias, but Alex Russell yesterday was great to watch, and had the pleasure of having a chat with him on camera and off camera at the end of the day's plays yesterday, and he was so thrilled with his work, and like really excited that he picked up his first wicket, and then obviously picked up his first 5 for as well, and then obviously being able to watch Rob Keogh bat, which I think would be fair to say that we haven't had the pleasure of watching the batting from Northampton, what we would have liked to have done so far this season in the championship. But as you said, it feels like that it's not a million miles away from everything kind of clicking together.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, I just find it, however much you love cricket, if you come and watch as a spectator, or if you work in the game in a different capacity, very rarely do you watch every ball of the game. It's amazing what you pick up when you are doing that. It's great. It's a privilege, really, you know, when you're sort of, because of what you're doing, you get to do that. Amazing how much more you see and the nuances you get, which I guess, having played the game, you get it that way. And if you're not going to be playing in the game, then kind of watching it every ball closely is.
Oh my word, Jack White. Joe Denley comes back into the attack, replacing Arshdeep Singh from the Lynn Wilson centre end, and Jack White has a look at Joe Denley's leggies and just biffs him down the ground for 4.
The other thing you learn is if you, a bit like playing, if you get something wrong, then there's always someone there to point it out to you. you expose yourself when in the age of social media, but it's been great fun.
Oh, good.
And an appeal for LBW this time. Nothing given by the standing umpire.
Just quietly, that shot from Jack was superb.
Timed the pants off it, didn't he?
Hit him out of the attack.
And that has bounced and turned big from Joe Denley that time. It's a whole new challenge for Jack White to come up against, having sent off the seamers.
Talking of watching Northampton's bat, someone who you feel is so close to sort of becoming someone who scores big runs is Saif Zaid. Loads of 20s, 30s. How can he go on and start turning those into 50s and 100s?
Yeah, I think Saif is a phenomenal batsman. He's exciting to watch. You watch the way he goes about in T20 and the way the parts of the ground that he's able to hit the ball to. I'd actually hate to have had to bowl him back in the day, because he can hit your best ball sort of over fine leg for 6 and knock you back over your head for 6 as well. So he's a real 360 player. He's exciting to watch. He's made some real important contributions last year. I think back end of last year he got 100 here against Surrey. Batted superbly well. We know the scores are in there for him. Watched him bat up at Yorkshire in a real hard-fought nail-biter up there, where we lost by 1 wicket with about 2 overs left in the day, and he fought all the way through that innings. It wasn't a fluent, 4s and 6s and hitting the ball to all parts. It was a real grind. So we know he's got the ability to play any sort of situation. And again, I think it's that we speak about there. We're so close to something happening where the whole team clicks and we put it in a proper performance. I believe that's the same with Saif. I think he'd be disappointed sort of how we got out today. Great player of spin. But I'm sure there's a performance from him just round the corner and a big 100 and an exciting 100, because when he gets going, he's real eye-catching cricketer.
Yeah, change of ends for Arshdeep Singh. He's replaced Wes Agar from the David Capel end.
One thing I will say about Saif as well is spin bowling that came on this year. I know he's been working on it as well, but it's been great to get overs out of him in T20 cricket. It's always been the stuff that we've looked for. He can, with Whitey not playing, certainly fill a good spot there and bowl some important overs. Gives us a bit of respite or a bit of flexibility in our bowling attack, knowing that we've got a couple of overs from people up the sleeve at certain stages of the game. So, he's bowled in championship cricket and he's done a real good job every time he's got the opportunity to do that as well. So, he is an exciting player for us. Gonna have to head back shortly.
No,
I've got a couple of lads bowling at lunchtime. Ollie Sale and
you're welcome,
Luke Proctor,
along with all the other lads, to stay for as long and for as little as you like. We appreciate the company and the insight into the game and the team.
Oh, not again, surely.
Trying to do it again.
Yeah. No, it's been a pleasure. Sorry, I've been meaning to come up a couple of times, but you just get sidetracked with a few other things that are going on and stuff like that, and then sort of time goes. So it's been good to come up and chat to you guys. I know lads have really enjoyed your company and being able to speak cricket with you, and the interviews that you've done around the ground. It's been really good. So you've had a good impression with the lads in the squad. So
start blushing in a minute.
No, well, it makes a big difference getting you guys up, because it's that level of insight that, unless you've played the game or coached the game, then it's difficult to replicate, and we can ask kind of the questions that perhaps people at home are wondering as well. So, yeah, massive thanks.
No, I've enjoyed it.
It's great.
Enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
through the covers this time from Jack White.
Shot the day that, and on that note, I think I'll start heading back over to the other side.
As good as
Thank
time
you
as
very
any.
much.
No, thank you, Chris.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers, Liz.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
No. Shot through the covers brings up the 300 for Northamptonshire. That's brilliant, Sam.
Yeah, lovely guy and knows the game, doesn't he, for sure. Long career at Sussex and then here at Northants.
Yeah, providing a lot of insight, as you said, that you and I clearly can't provide. And
hopefully we can eke it out of people, though.
absolutely, I think that's a skill for sure. He's gone past the outside edge that time of Jack White. He's on 14 now off 19. Seems to be a little bit more lateral movement from the David Capel end, Sam, than what there has been from the Lynn Wilson centre end this morning with this second new ball.
Seen it all game, haven't we, with the seamers. Do wonder if that was a fill-in over from Denley and whether Agar might come back, but equally they've looked pretty untroubled. It's 2.
Yeah, down the leg side this time. I think that's going to run away. That is 4 more added to the score. Just leg buys this time. Keeper Jordan Cox couldn't get on top of that one, so 4 to finish Archedeep's 17th over. 1 for 64 for the Indian Overseas, and Joe Denley is going to continue. I thought he might. I thought with the way that Jack White played him throughout the rest of the over, obviously the shot down the ground was incredibly comprehensive and almost dominating as such, but after that, with the bounce and the turn that Joe Denley was getting out of the rough, always must be quite tempting to go again after you've just played such a lovely shot down the ground.
Yeah, exactly, and I think something about particularly wrist spin to tail enders.
Tropped into the offside. Shouts of encouragement from Jack Leaning. As Joe Denley targets the rough outside the leg stump of Ben Sanderson. 3 wickets for the Kent leg spinner so far. Into his 41st over of the innings. And there's an appeal for LBW, but I think that's pitched well outside leg stump, and umpire's not at all interested in that. An optimistic appeal at best, I think, from Kent that time.
Yeah. Yeah, these two resisting well. Partnership of 29. And the deficit is now 80. I do just wonder if Rob Keogh and Luke Proctor had the decisions go their way, or...
And down the ground again. This time Ben Sanderson, a couple of bounces, 4 more for Ben Sanderson. He moves to 38. There is a fielder not a million miles away in that area of Hamadullah Kadri, but with so many fielders circling around the bat, there's a fair few options if the Northants batters do want to go aerial. It's going to be a dot ball to finish the 96th over. 308 for 8 the score for Northamptonshire. Sanderson 38 off 47, Jack White 14 off 20, and Northants trail by 76.
He likes batting against Kent. Ben Sanderson, his career best first-class score is against Kent way back in 2015. He made 42 from 42 balls, batting at number 10 at Canterbury. And Northants won by an innings and 23 runs. I feel like more likely to be the other way around this game.
Well, I mean, there's not much chance of Northamptonshire winning by an innings.
No, that's for sure. Picked up 6 wickets in that match as well.
Good day out for Ben Sanderson back in 2015 then.
Yeah, that's early in his career. Singh with 3 slips. Full and straight, and Jack White is untroubled. Not been much movement with this new ball for the Seamers, has there?
Not at all, no. I think Kent will be, well, 1, a little bit surprised, and 2, a little bit disappointed that this new one hasn't really done a great deal. When did you take a note of the over which they took it, Sam?
No, but the scorer might have done. Let's have a look on the...
Don't worry if you didn't. But I suspect it's around that kind of...
89 overs. So it's 7.3 overs old now.
So, I mean, this is almost in overtime now for that new ball if it were to start swinging based on what we've seen from these Kookaburra cricket balls that have been used in this match so far. And I wouldn't be at all surprised. It's hard to call, isn't it, at the moment, because you've got the 2 bowlers there in Arshdeep and Wes Agar, who you would say would be your premier bowlers, and you would back them to take the wickets. But on the flip side to it, in these circumstances, with the pitch the way it is, potentially a Jack Leaning or Hamidullah Qadri from the David Capel end might create a little bit more doubt in the mind of Jack White and Ben Sanderson.
Yeah, I suppose Kent will feel they've got time and runs to try different things, find the thing that works best.
Yeah, they've certainly got time on their side.
Maiden over for Arshdeep Singh, the 3rd of his 18 overs in the 2nd innings. And Joe Denley with this 8-over-old Kookaburra in his hand, just trying to get it to turn and bounce out of that rough. Wes Agar is nipped off. Harry Finch, the 12th man, comes on. And he'll be fielding directly in front of us, down on the long-on boundary. He's the man that comes trotting in to do the fielding, as Ben Sanderson adds another to his total. Lots of men round the bat for Jack White. Short leg, silly point, leg slip and slip. Otherwise, 4 men out on the onside, short mid-wicket, cow corner, long on and deep square leg, and Jack White plays a lovely shot.
That's a big carrot, isn't it, to dangle to the number 10 of Northamptonshire, playing against the spin and leaving that area from almost long on all the way round to deep cover completely vacant.
Yeah, Kent won't mind that one bit, although, oh, well, Jack White, because he played that very nicely. Runs coming quite freely at the moment, with the lead for Kent now 71 as Jack White unfurls his reverse sweep. Doesn't make contact with it.
No, you just see Jack leaning in the background there, going through a few looseners, can't you? I wonder whether he's going to replace Arshdeep.
Up in the air on the bounce to Matt Quinn. At the sort of halfway point between mid-off and long-off. It's definitely a plan, which at the moment Jack White is in danger of falling into, but that's a lovely reverse paddle, full toss. He just helps it on its way. It won't go all the way. Beautifully executed by Jack White. Solid from Jack White to finish the over. Productive one for him. He takes 6 from it to go with a single for Ben Sanderson. And this is Jack White's highest first-class score. Beating his previous best of 15, not out. And Dan, you called it. Jack leaning into the attack. So Hamadullah Kadri definitely playing third fiddle amongst the Kent spinners. Again, I think it's the extra height which is a big factor. He's not a tall man, Hamadullah Kadri, whereas Jack Leaning is probably a 6-footer, something like that. Ooh, and for a moment, Ben Compton was interested in a catch, but never really up in the air long enough for the man at short leg. Definitely their specialist short leg, Compton, because when Jack White, the left-hander, comes on strike, he switches with Tawanda Muyeye, so very much his position. "20 minutes until lunch. These two will be desperate, having put on 42 to still be there at the interval, just to, as Chris Little was saying, you know, every over you stay out there adds a little bit of confidence to a depleted well of self-belief that some heavy defeats may have instilled in Northamptonshire. They've got a big game next, taking on Middlesex, who lost their game this round and have been dragged into the bottom two already. Kent will, with a win, give themselves a bit of breathing room. Do you think I might request a little update from what else happened in Division 1 in the games that have finished and are still going?
Of course you can, sir. It would be a pleasure to provide you with that information.
I know that.
I sounded a bit like a Siri then, didn't I? The way I kind of worded that back to you.
Lovely shot from Jack White, and he gets healthy applause from the Northamptonshire viewing balcony. I think did Lancashire beat Surrey comfortably, which puts the cat amongst the pigeons, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So this is the only game in this round of fixtures that's actually still going.
Hit hard down the ground and a shy at the stumps, but Jack White gets through for a single and keeps the strike. Another productive over, 8 from it.
Yep, so that game down on the south coast that you mentioned, Hampshire versus Middlesex. Hampshire have won that game by an innings and 61.
12 for Liam Dawson, right, to go with 100?
I can do some quick maths, but they were bowled out for 208 in their second innings. Yeah, 141 in the first innings, 6 wickets in the second and 6 in the third. Do you think he might have been player of the match in that game? I think he might have just pipped his teammates. But yeah, so big result for Hampshire and an equally sizable one for Middlesex as they lost by an innings in 61 down at Southampton.
Reverse sweep shout for LBW, but hitting him well outside off stump.
The oval.
Just staying on that, Liam Dawson there, certainly doing everything he can to say, well, if you do need someone who can bowl a bit of spin and still score some runs, then I'm doing okay myself, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, with Moeen's finger injury, that door seems pretty open. Although they've elected not to pick him in the second test, haven't they? So it'll give him another few days or weeks to rest. Well, what looked like it looked horrible, didn't it, when you saw the close-ups of Moeen's finger in that first test up at Edgbaston?
They said he was fit to play, didn't they? In this
They did,
game? But
yeah.
they've gone for 4 seamers plus Joe Root. Tucked away by Ben Sanderson, and he will have a new first-class high score, beating his 42 against Kent in 2015, and that is also a 50 partnership for the 9th wicket. Coming off just 55 balls, and these two making it look pretty straightforward at the moment. Kent just getting a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, so down at the Oval, Lancashire have beaten Surrey by 123.
Big result.
Lancashire bowling out Surrey in the 4th innings for 84.
Oh, and I think Joe Denley has put him down.
I think he has.
Chance for a 4th wicket for the leg spinner. I'm pretty sure this was a chance he should have taken, and in fact it was almost in. And next thing he knew, he was scrabbling around in the dirt. A missed opportunity for Kent to buy themselves a little bit of extra time. Actually, I think on day 4 you can't move lunch, can you?
Pass. But Tom Bailey and Will Williams picking up 9 wickets, and Jack Blatherwick with the other one for Surrey as they bowled. Sorry, for Lancashire as they bowled Surrey out for 84. Surrey are still top of the championship, however. Chelmsford, Essex versus Warwickshire. Essex have won by 9 wickets. They enforced the follow-on and were set a pretty small target, and Essex chased that down 85 for 1.
Hoons down the ground by Jack White.
Simon Harmer, 5 wickets. We spoke to Freddie yesterday, didn't we? And said about how he just takes wickets for fun. And then Feroz Kushi with 40 and Alistair Cook, 23 not out, to guide Essex to 85 for 1 to beat Warwickshire. And then finally, the game down at Taunton, which started off in quite dramatic fashion with Somerset being bowled out for 163 and then Notts 186. Somerset have won by 399 runs at Taunton. Oh my word. Can we get that on replay, please?
It is all happening. Jack White is certainly providing plenty of entertainment. Well, talk about angles. He's managed to play that between keeper and the stumps. This is bonkers. That is unbelievable.
A.B. de Villiers who?
He's got that in the sort of 3-foot gap between his off stump and Jordan Cox, the wicket keeper, and hit it for 4.
Almost on the end of his kind of bat path as well, wasn't it? Kind of played 2 shots at it in the end. So yeah, as I say, Somerset beating Nottinghamshire by 399 runs, hundreds for George Bartlett and James Rue, who seems to be in a decent bit of touch at the moment. And then Josh Davey got 4 for in the second innings.
attempting the reverse sweep again. Thank you for that roundup, Dan.
That's all right. The table as it stands: Surrey, Essex, Hampshire, Warwickshire, Lancashire, Somerset, Notts, Kent, Middlesex and Northamptonshire. So Surrey just clear of Essex by 23 points.
Kent do go on to win this game, which you'd say is pretty likely. Then they've given themselves some...
Yeah, possibly overtake Notts.
No, I think they'll have had their 8... Yeah, they've had their 8 bonus points already added.
Oh, okay.
So they get 16 more onto that, 72, so there'll be 6 behind Notts, but crucially, they will be 21 points ahead of Middlesex in 9th, who themselves will be 12 points ahead of Northamptonshire. So that Middlesex-Northamptonshire game next round becomes, well, just like this one was, a massive game at the bottom of Division 1 of the LV County Championship.
Yeah, as you said in conversation with Chris Little earlier, Sam, a couple of wins in that W column, and I mean, you're not that far away from being mid-table.
Well, I think, assuming Kent win this, that's a great illustration of it here, isn't it? They've leapfrogged Middlesex, and they're suddenly got a bit of breathing room. So, got to stay positive, Northamptonshire, and Northamptonshire fans get behind the team and the coaching staff.
Annoyingly, Australia are going pretty well at Lords as well, aren't they?
Yes. Dabbed out to Arshdeep Singh on the point boundary for another single to Ben Sanderson. Is now within 5 of the maiden first class 50, which would be a nice moment. 92nd first class match for Ben Sanderson, 154 innings, 155 when you include this. Deficit just 47 now. The runs have been coming pretty easily in this 62-run partnership for the 8th wicket. 10 minutes until lunch.
Yeah. Do you think spin all the way, Sam? Oh, Kadri's just taken his cap off, as you can see him just coming into picture there, so he's going to be bowling from the David Capel end. I can't see them going back to a seamer before lunch, can you?
No, I think maybe after lunch a refreshed Agar, assuming he's fit and well, and ditto with Arshdeep Singh, who is still on the pitch. We might have another burst. But they'll be not getting nervous, Kent, but they really won't want to have to bat again. Still 46 runs. Again, I keep going back to it, but you know, it's a counterfactual. But if Proctor and Keogh stayed together yesterday, and you know, certainly there was some discussion over Rob Keogh's LBW decision, and of course Luke Proctor went because of the enforced spin. A lot of kind of what ifs, but if those two had added another, I don't know, 80 runs between them, you wouldn't want to be chasing, wouldn't want to have to be chasing much more than 150, would you? Which would have been a huge effort from Northamptonshire in the second innings, but one proper big partnership, and you're sort of certainly looking at making Kent bat again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hard, isn't it, to talk about ifs, buts and maybes, but I think they are valid points.
I think the fact they've managed to get 340 in their second innings, 339 for 8, I should say, will just frustrate them so much about how many runs they left out there in the first innings.
Yeah, no, you're right, but that ship has sailed, and it kind of feels like every over that's added to this second innings is just another percentile of positivity, I think, to just to highlight the fight and the grit that there is in this dressing room, and that they are obviously prepared to be out there and do the hard work, and hopefully that's something that can be taken forward.
And you saw that in the bowling innings, as tough as it was, they were, as Chris Little pointed out, you know, throwing themselves around throughout. They didn't bowl badly at all. Which again just comes back to that first batting innings. Good over from Hamidullah Qadri, just stems the flow of runs, which had been getting a little leaky with this lead of 45. Lower than Kent probably would have hoped when they took the 8th wicket 64 runs ago. Joe Denley will continue from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Beautifully played by Jack White. Matt Quinn will cut it off, but another sumptuous drive from Northamptonshire's number 10. He's absolutely demolished his highest first-class score. 40 off 49 balls he's got now. Previous best was 15 not out. He's catching up with his partner, Ben Sanderson. Seems very comfortable against spin, doesn't he, Jack White?
Again, I don't want to take the bait, Sam. I really don't. But it's been a really good partnership between the two of them. Obviously, I suspect they probably spend a lot of time in one another's company in various bowling meetings and bowling sessions, and then obviously operating from either end with the new ball here at Wantage Road and around the country. So,
tempter from Joe Denny, which, talking of taking the bait, Jack White does, but only insofar as whacking it into the protective equipment of Wanda Muyeye.
He's done incredibly well not to flinch there, isn't he? I think if that was me at silly point, I think you'd probably get the groundsman out there with a shovel to dig a hole and just kind of leave me there, I think.
Single off the last ball keeps Jack White on strike. Northamptonshire 3-4-2 for 8, trailing Kent by 42.
Potentially the last over before lunch.
I reckon they might get all one more in unless Jack White deposits one into the gardens on Wantage Road. Reverse sweep again. This time, not I was gonna say not quite as fine, but actually on the side of the ground where you would expect a reverse sweep to go, rather than down to fine leg.
Yeah, the more traditional area to put the reverse sweep.
Wide. Oh, and put down. Hit that hard, didn't he?
He certainly did.
Well, that's 2 drop catches, return catches by Kent's spinners, Qadri, and previously, I mean, that's a. I was going to say a dolly, but he's hit it hard. But he should have caught that, shouldn't he?
I think so. I think Qadri will be disappointed that he just went with the one hand. I think it was so wide that I think Hamadullah Kadri would have been quite surprised that Ben Sanderson would have A, played it, and then 2, managed to play it back quite so straight.
Yeah. And
So
he did hit it hard, and I think, you know, it's just survival instinct stuck in, but he'll be disappointed with himself. Oh, and that's turned away from the legs of Jack White, who went down on one knee and tried to send it over into the football stand, but he's lucky it turned, really, otherwise that would have been troubling his off stump.
be disappointed, Sam, on this pitch if that was the one that didn't turn, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's just gone. Oh, that one's just gone straight on. You sit there going, "How on earth? Why was that the one?"
70 partnership now for this pair. Which, as I say, that is ended. Ben Sanderson leans on his bat, 4 away from his maiden first-class 50. I don't know whether that's out of frustration or because he doesn't think he hit it, but it doesn't really matter because umpire Graham Lloyd thought he did, and so he goes away, goes for an enterprising 46 from 64 balls. As I say, a career best for Ben Sanderson, who shown some good fight along with Jack White for that partnership of 70 for the 9th wicket, and he gets a hearty round of applause from the Wantage Road faithful. It's good to see they appreciate the resolve and the mettle that Ben Sanderson has shown. Let's have a look at this again. It was definitely in our headphones a little noise. I think it was more disappointment than dissent from Ben Sanderson.
Yeah, I thought I heard something. Through the effects mic, which he just boosted it up this morning, didn't
Yeah,
he? Rarity that it's not blowing an 80-mile-an-hour wind into the microphone. So nice to use the opportunity to.
So we're obviously extending the session because Joe Denley is ready at the top of his mark. And they're helpfully from the announcer here at Wantage Road, an extra 8 overs or half an hour, whichever is longer, to allow a result to be achieved. Alex Russell at the non-striker's end, so Jack White, he was desperate for a 50.
Floated up in an appeal for caught behind, but I think Jack White has made contact with the ground as the ball went past. Joe Denley on 3 wickets so far. It's played out to cover, and that'll be a single added to the score for Jack White, who moves to 44, and Alex Russell will face up against his first ball of the second innings, leg spinner to leg spinner. Everywhere you look, there's a Kent fielder converging on the Northamptonshire number 11. Nicely played by Alex Russell, off the back foot, out to short cover. As you can see on screen, first slip, second slip, in close on his knees as a short cover, a short leg and a leg slip as well for Joe Denley. It's floated, and that's just gone past the hand of Ben Compton at short cover. Change of angle then for Joe Denley off the last ball of his 46th over, coming around the wicket. And successfully defended by Alex Russell. Negotiates those 4 balls. 106 overs gone in this innings now. Score 346 for 9. On this stream, powered by Daffabet at Northamptonshire. Hamadullah Kadri from the David Caper lens. Shorter. Jack White turns down the opportunity for a single. Left well alone. Calls for that to be a bit fuller. Floating above the eye line of Jack White. And that's off the outside edge of the bat, out to Ben Compton, who does the fielding. Alex Russell successfully gets through for a single. Jack White moves to 45.
Well left in the end by Alex Russell. As you would expect, plenty of company for Northamptonshire's number 11. He's off the mark with a confident stroke through the covers, comes back for 2. We had that game, I can't remember who they were playing, but Hampshire needed 1 run, having got that extra half an hour of play because the umpires deemed a result was imminent. I think Hampshire levelled the scores. The half an hour expired and they went off for 40 minutes of lunch, came back and did the job, I think, the first ball, which obviously led to lots of people exasperated at curiosities of cricket. They had half an hour to hit the runs. You'd have thought maybe 1 more would have been within their capabilities, given that it was, I think, a fairly comfortable victory. Sharp turn towards Jack White and a shout for LBW, but I think he was probably well outside the line. .350 up for Northamptonshire in the 108th over of their second innings. Much better showing in the second innings than the first. By which time it was just too late. The damage had been done. Hit up in the air and over the man at mid-wicket. Matt Quinn will have a chase down to the boundary. Jack White moves on to 46. Sorry, that of course was Alex Russell who hit that shot.
One last push was the call from behind the stumps from the Kent wicket keeper. Very floated delivery from Joe Denley to finish his 47th over. One more added to the score. Jack White will keep the strike and he's on 47. Northamptonshire, of course, have passed 350. Deficit is currently 30. I think England picked up the wicket of Usman Khawaja, didn't they, on the stroke of lunch, bowled by Josh Tongue for 17.
Oh, that's good for Josh Tongue.
Is it Tongue or Tongue?
Well, I'm not sure myself, but I went to watch Sussex Worcestershire, and the announcer definitely was saying Josh Tongue. I wasn't sure if that was just the West Midlands accent.
Oh, Jack White brings up 50 in superb style down the ground for 4. He's on 51. Fantastic innings from the Northants number 10. Off 68 balls, 7 fours included in that, including that rather inventive reverse, almost a reverse sweep, wasn't it? But
what a way to get there.
What a shot. Out to cover this time off the back foot. So that'll be one more added to the total. Alex Russell then will be on strike. And once again, those Kent fielders almost swarm on Alex Russell, don't they?
Yeah. Like bees around a jar of honey.
Absolutely, just converging on the young man, Muyeye, the fielder there that you can see at short cover. That's too short from Hamidullah Kadri. Better delivery that time from Kadri. She gets the ball above the eye line of Alex Russell. Pushes that one down the ground to mid-on. Change of angle for the Kent spinner off the last ball of his over then. And Muyeye moves from short cover to a short mid-wicket and then into a leg gully. Try and get it's gone past the outside edge of Alex Russell to finish Hamidullah Kadri's 20th over. He's bowled 20 overs, 4 maidens, 3 for 50. Northamptonshire 359 for 9.
If Northants can make Kent bat again, I just think the psychological impact of not falling to another innings defeat shouldn't be underestimated. You know, all likelihood is this will be another heavy defeat, but the fact that they've gone, no, you're going to have to bat again. You know, it's from a pretty, it is slightly clutching at straws, but it's something to go, well, we put up a bit of fight, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Sam. I think it's a really good point, well made, and I think we spoke to Chris Liddell, didn't we, about those moments of positivity, and I think if that is possible, then it should be seen as one. And I mean, Jack White is leading by example here, isn't he, with 53 off 70. Real shame to have lost Tom Taylor in the fashion that we did. Driven out to point from Russell.
Just these little moments, but that's cricket, isn't it? In every game, you think back to that first test at Edgbaston Stokes had hung onto that catch, etc., etc. They hadn't declared, etc., etc. It's the beauty of the game.
Yeah. When Mother Cricket's kind of shining on you, it's going your way, isn't it? And those moments when it isn't. Very floated delivery from Joe Denley there in an attempt to just tempt Alex Russell into the big shot.
Where's the Mother Cricket phrase come from? I only heard it for the first time maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And now you hear it all over the place.
Cut away from Russell, and that's gone through the offside. Don't think it's going to go all the way to the boundary. So Russell will settle on 2 to finish the over of Denley. You know what? I've got no idea. It kind of feels like something that should have been around for absolutely ages, doesn't it? It feels like, you know, when you go to your club ground and you've got the chap that used to play in the 50s and when they used to play on uncovered pitches and the bowlers were faster in back in the day and the balls were smaller and the bats were bigger and all this other good stuff. It kind of feels like it should have originated from there, but I think you're right. I think it has only really kind of come to the floor over the last couple of years, but I quite like it as a saying.
I certainly hear it a lot now.
Takes away a bit of the guilt from your own club cricket abilities, doesn't it?
Also, people talk about it as, you know, a reason to respect the game. Because Mother Cricket will always put you right.
Just watching.
She'll send you up to your room if you're naughty.
Yeah.
You say the guy in the 50s, in the day of playing on uncovered pitches, I've definitely played some club cricket on uncovered pitches.
I've played almost every game of my club cricket career on uncovered pitches. Big appeal for caught at short leg. It's gone nowhere near the cricket bat of Alex Russell. Good, I think probably acting, from the disbelief of the Kent fielders that wasn't given out. They gave the impression that they were certain of that, but it's missed Alex Russell's bat by a long way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Can't imagine there's been too many times in Jack White's professional career that the opposition captain have been giving him one to allow him to get off strike. Half an appeal again as Alex Russell tries to cut that one away through to the wicketkeeper Jordan Cox. Did they say half an hour or 8 overs was the extension?
Yeah, whichever is longer, so it'll be half an hour given it spinners.
And Alex Russell successfully negotiates that over as well. So 111 overs done, 363 for 9. Joe Denley to continue from the Lynn Wilson centre end. I think going back to the Mother Cricket saying, I think it's a good way to kind of just keep you kind of grounded, you know. You kind of know that your hard work's going to come back and you're going to be repaid for it. And equally, as you said, if you don't respect the game or the chance for a run out, but Alex Russell's through with a 2019 Ben Stokes-esque attempt to pick up 5, but didn't quite get enough of the middle of the bat on that one, did he, Alex Russell? And equally, if you don't respect the game, you know it's going to come back and get you.
Superstitious bunch, our cricketers.
There's some funny stories, isn't there, about various superstitious moments in the world of professional cricket. It's nicely played by Alex Russell. He'll pick up a single, so Jack White will get back on strike. I'm sure that's not what Kent wanted in the slightest, as those fielders vacate those 22 yards of Northamptonshire
when we were talking to Chris a little about, you know, finding things to be positive about, this is, of course, Northamptonshire's highest score this season by some distance. Made 311 for 8 against Somerset in the draw there when they battered themselves to safety. Some way off doing that in this game, but certainly hanging on in there.
Down the ground again from Jack White. Timed well enough to beat Matt Quinn. He's going to pick up another 4. Nicely timed and nicely played again by Jack.
Yeah, Matt Quinn is not the quickest mover across the turf, but I don't think anyone would have quite been able to track that one down. It kept him interested for a little while over his head.
Reverse sweep this time, and that is the downfall of Jack White. He's batted brilliantly for 59. Strong resilience and fight from the Northants number 10, but ultimately not enough, as that one is caught behind by Jordan Cox. And Northamptonshire find themselves having lost this game against Kent by an innings and 15 runs, having been bowled out for 369 in their second innings.
Yeah, dominant performance by Kent in the end. Must give them a huge amount of credit. They bowled very well in the first innings, and I think that was only really properly highlighted when they then went on to make a mammoth 621 triple century, unbeaten for Daniel Bell-Drummond, and of course that wonderful maiden first class under for Tawanda Muyeye. And credit to Northamptonshire as well for the way they've batted in the second innings. You really hope that that will give them some confidence in the next match, but they do find themselves in a very difficult position after, well, around the halfway point of the championship season. So victory by an innings and 15 runs. That is the 4th innings defeat of the campaign for Northants, and they remain firmly rooted to the bottom of the table.
Yeah, as you said, full credit to Kent for the performance over the course of the 4 days. Standout moment, obviously, that of Daniel Bell-Drummond. Tawanda Muyeye, the fifer in the first innings from Wes Agar, who exploited that reverse swing that was on offer with that kookaburra during this 2-week or 2-round trial by the ECB. Fielded well to go on top of that. Jack Leaning stands out, I think, with 5 catches in the slip cordon. I think there was only that one off Rob Keogh by Ben Compton, really, that stands out. Those caught and bowled at the end of the day, I suppose, do count too. But and some positives for Northamptonshire to look at, I think, with the performance of Alex Russell picking up 6 wickets in that innings, his first-class wicket of Tawanda Muyeye, and then obviously the 5 that followed to confirm his first professional or first-class 5-wicket haul. Performances in innings of Rob Keogh of 97 and 50. The grit of Luke Proctor as well in that partnership with Rob yesterday afternoon and evening. And then some real determination and fight from the tail by Northamptonshire today, but ultimately not enough against what's been a dominant performance against Kent.
Yeah, they take maximum points from the game, and Northampton take 1.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us over these 4 days here at Wantage Road. Stream powered by Daffabet here at Northamptonshire County Cricket Club. Bit of a break now between the next home fixture here, as we won't be back until the game against Somerset, which I believe is middle of July, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, I won't be here for that, but I know you will be, Dan.
I will indeed. So, yep, we bid you farewell. Have a good Wednesday afternoon. We'll see you in a few weeks.